Undebe afe ekan ba won chiko igboro emi shaba lilu na chiefu benu lonchita bidona bana ye kan yagigin walimat nye boji asoko ebo etatu to igboro lo na sokola gine ni mine ba ajo gbanana Professor Mamman Saba Abdulkadir nye Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida University kede waje Professor woro na.
If Professor MS Abdulkadir has not taken the risk of migrating from Kaduna Polytechnic after his PhD, to which I was scared when he was going to go for the PhD in Malaysia, and today the rest is history. He took the risk, crossed over from the Polytechnic and moved to the university with lower salary because Polytechnics and college of education pay better than universities. He ignored that payment option and opted to be a senior lecturer to start with. I said, don't worry, you will be there. He got promoted associate professor. He was pioneer dean in Abdulkadir Kure University, and when they wanted to do him somehow, I said, go back to your university, go and earn your professorial chair, and then you can go to anywhere in the world. And alhamdulillah, he went back to Abibi University, and it was the day he called me. He said, my promotion as professor has been announced. I said, I'm not surprised, but congratulations for your steadfastness, resilience, commitment, doggedness, and indeed, what other vocabulary can I use? Perseverance. And he made it. So today we're here to celebrate him.
Today, we gather to celebrate one such rare personality and intellectual force. A man whose life has become a bridge between service, scholarship, leadership, excellence, and humanity. A man whose name echoes with dignity in the corridor of academia. Ladies and gentlemen, with great honor and deep admiration, I present to you the citation of an erudite scholar, an accomplished administrator, a mentor of mentors, and a pride to academia, Professor of History, Politics, and Government. Born in the vibrant decades of 1960 into the noble family of late Mallam Abdulkadir, really so rest in peace. Professor began the journey that later inspired generations and transformed lives. And from that moment, his rise became meteorical. In June 2022, he ascended to the rank of associate professor. And today, ladies and gentlemen, he stands proudly at the pinnacle of academic accomplishment, a full professor of history, politics, and government. Ladies and gentlemen, a man whose words carry depth, whose thought carries weight, and whose wisdom lingers long after conversation has ended. Because he speaks, you do not merely hear words, you encounter layers of meaning from the Quran, from the Bible, from philosophy, and of course, from history, all woven together with remarkable brilliance like a bridge connecting hearts and minds.
When Professor Saba was announced as professor, you were not there. But he moved the Senate into some quiet, very solemn moment. Actually, water formed in some people's eyes because Professor Saba let people know that his own father, may Allah grant him Jannatul Firdaus, sold his car to pay for his university education. He wished that his father were alive today to witness this great moment.
Eken babago ala tula sarin ezabaji to etaji wonchiko na de kuchi late Mallam Abdulkadir na baba yan so Professor Mamman Saba Abdulkadir deji kamin fele da makantaji benu deji ajijin egi na jama go bagi bago to egi yan so na aje Professor gbana na ebode yula katun dioji daga takan buyi na.
Professor Abdulkadir, I say he's my brother. People wonder
How can it be there that bearing Mustafa? The man who brought me up was Mallam Abdulkadir. He was also a teacher. He also brought up our own father. Those were the days that teachers were respected. Those were the days. That's the common name I always use. I'm proud of you. You are pride of the family. And I pray that after our departure on this temporary world, our children and grandchildren will also follow. Thank you.
He was the first pioneer dean of the School of Faculty of Education of the university. During his tenure for 1 year, honestly, the university knew what is at gain. And for that reason, we loan him back to IBPU so that you can get that rank of a professor. MS, you have gotten it. We wish by next academic session you return back to Abdulkadir Kure University.
Mallam Saba. Recently, I published a book at the Rotunda Theatre of Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which many of you may have heard about it. I want to also attribute some of those success to Professor that is seated here, for it took so much time and pain in editing that book.
One thing anybody cannot take away from Mallam is that he's a consummate teacher. At every opportunity when he visits our family, whether it is in the mosque or every opportunity, he wants to drop some lessons. So my family looked up to his visits at home, because there is no way he will live without dropping some nuggets of wisdom. So we continue to pray that Allah will continue to bless him. We are looking forward to his announcement as a VC very soon.
Minna nade Professor Biani Kemina Fulaunchi Nga Motio Mana Wabi Nga Zanwe Magatuwe Wabi Fuluyo Na Hichimwayaza Emma
Being a humble person, being very sincere, being very committed, being very identified with education, these are characters of professorship. But one thing stands also for him is he is always living, he is not living above the surrounding squalor. He is always in the mix of the poor, the mix of the vulnerable, and the mix of the weak.
I've known Professor for 14 years. In all that time, he has been the same good, kind-hearted, and always there when we call him. He never says no. Whenever the school calls him, the teachers, or whenever the students want him, his time and his words of wisdom.
na mai kan babago ga sashi to zaji biya mafi egiyo na unke yi bana dajin soko a cikin manin be musu Professor Mamman Saba Abdulkadir daga baya zunda chujo na ji na gangane be zakan buwe to na yi jika tun yi pipe chancaje arbe tuna ji wonlo kakan Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida University Kaduna Polytechnic Abeto Abdulkadir Kure University mena bana jidu katun kakan na.
I stand here in the proud lineage of late Mallam Abdulkadir, a teacher and indeed a school supervisor of high repute in the 50s, 60s and 70s. When the honor of destiny knocked and the financial demand of sending me to university threatened to derail my future, my late father did something unprecedented. He did not look at what he is going to lose. He looked at what his son could become. He saw this car, his primary means of mobility, and handed over the proceeds to me into a world of higher learning. My father chose to walk on foot so that his son could fly among intellectuals. My
my late father, whose spirit I know smile down upon us today, that if only the dead can see and the dead can hear, the most happiest person, the most happiest person would have been Mallam Abdulkadir. Your sacrifice is the bedrock upon which this professorial chair rests, which all are joyfully celebrating today.
Kanga zakan na jide wuto Professor Mamman Saba Abdulkadir ela tabadan che lazuma tuya kakan auto scholarship jana aso tia be ugwa ngba ba be jide ya wuto.
I want to thank Professor Mamman Saba Abdulkadir for his untiring efforts and founded the Landzun Future Leaders Award. Honestly, we have been enjoying it and gaining a lot from it. The award has made all of us push harder, stay consistent, and take our work more seriously.
Professor Mamman Saba has inspired me to aim for being more than a student of history. He has inspired me to become a professor in history someday, so that I too may contribute to knowledge, teach others, and leave a lasting legacy. On behalf of my family and U22 Master Student History, I congratulate him. We thank him and we are proud of him for being a source of inspiration to our younger generation.
Anyone that comes into office, that is the first thing you see. The proverb says, all I try to do is to hold a mirror so that you can see your own reflection. Breaking the mirror changes nothing rather than cut my arms off. But the truth of a man shall never be dissolved in his blood. Anytime we come into office, that professor proverb has been part of us. You quoted the professor then. Today you are a professor. We are seeking for your permission. Since we get that from you, henceforth we will be quoting you with that proverb, not that professor. Thank you very much.
Professor Mamman Saba Abdulkadir has made me realize that being successful is not achieved based on your excellence, but how you touch people's lives. And Alhamdulillah, he has touched so many lives.
Any society that continues to neglect its intellectual capital is going to pay a price. And that is what is happening to our country today, where the political elite see politics as their own domain. And no matter how brilliant you are, like Dr. Duba, they don't want to see you around. They would rather want to see mediocres take the sway. And if you are too educated or too learned, don't go there, because they will gang against you and they will not vote for you. If you don't score 0, you will score only your vote, because you are going to be what? A threat to the establishment. So therefore, the educated elites, parents, please send your children to school. One day, education will become useful.